Momita, Professor Moitra has joined. Hello.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. He has joined. I can see him.
Professor Moitra, VC sir has joined. So MSc madam will join at 5 o'clock. Yeah, as soon as he will join, you please start. Okay.
Right, ma'am. Right.
Okay. VC sir, can we start as soon as ma'am will join?
Yeah, we should.
Because actually I asked ma'am to join. Ma'am should join at exact dot at 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
So as soon as he will join, we'll start that.
Do you see Dr. Bose joining? Because he is also a speaker, one of the speakers.
Dr. Pudipta Bose is here, sir.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
Well, he is also a speaker. So
yes, sir. He is there.
Good evening, everyone. I've already joined.
Yes.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. All the best.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
so much.
Ma'am, should we wait for 5 minutes because we are about to start at 5?
Sure. You all now continue according to your timings.
Okay. Sure, Momita, then please wait for 5 minutes because it is 55 only.
Right, ma'am.
Okay, so dot at 5 you start.
Right, ma'am. Madam, shall we begin?
Yes, sir. Ma'am, can you start? It's 5.
Sure, sure.
VC sir, we are starting then.
Yeah, it is 5, so we should
Okay.
start just in time.
Just start.
A very, very good evening to all of you. I am so proud to be here today to present to you this extremely relevant session for society, for our country, and for education. This session is on the national education policy and its impact on industry and society, brought to you by Techno India University Institutions Innovation Council in collaboration with Monoshij, our wellness partner. Techno India University, through its constant innovation, insight, and enterprise, has reached a pivotal position in the educational journey of our country. And this day, we celebrate the National Education Day, showcasing our commitment not only towards quality education, training, and skill development, but also towards a progressive, prosperous, and empathetic society. It is my honor to welcome all the dignitaries, seniors from our institutions, and our collaborators from the corporate world, directors and principals of all Techno India Group colleges, colleagues and faculties from the university, to what promises to be an extremely interesting and absorbing event for all of us, with such a constellation of speakers gracing the occasion. It is my utmost privilege to invite our Honorable Co-Chancellor Ma'am to deliver the inaugural address. I will just a minute. Just a minute. I am just. Professor Manashi Roy Choudhury, a charismatic leader with a passionate, persistent, and persuasive approach. She joined Techno India Group top management altitude in the year 2000. An alumnus of Loreto Convent, she has done her specialization in zoology with an additional degree in journalism and mass communication. In a decade of 2, Professor Manashi Roy Choudhury single-handedly managed to open and successfully run 20 schools across West Bengal and Madhya Pradesh, and believes in imparting quality education to the masses. The co-chairman and first lady of the education empire has now in her platter gigantic responsibilities of the schools, colleges, universities, and the entire group. She is presently the chairman of education for the Chamber BNCCI. Her workstation boasts of various awards, from being the best private university in 2018 in entrepreneurship development, Shraknyor Award from Eastern Chamber of Commerce, to the Innovation of Higher Education for Techno India University by the Quality Forum of India, Mother Teresa International Award for Education, Young Achievers Award as Women of Excellence Award, and Chobbish Ghanta Best Education Excellence for the Best Educational Group in Innovation. She is currently involved in advising and working with various organizations like the Rotary Club, Chambers of Commerce, including FICCI, ICC, BNCCI, BCCNI, and various NGOs like Bharat Seva on the ground level to promote various social and philanthropic activities. Mrs. Roy Choudhury's altruistic heart contributed to the society at large in times of this pandemic. She launched Monoshij, mental wellness platform, which is being a leader in the team of expertise where 24/7 counseling sessions are on to combat stress anxiety, and depression of individuals during this time. Her contribution to the enormous success of the education fraternity, Techno India Group, remains unparalleled. The latest award that she received is the Atmanirbhar Bharat Award and the Women's Achievers Award. Such an honor to welcome you, ma'am. Over to you.
Thank you so much for that huge, lengthy, but wonderful, motivating introduction. A very good evening to everyone present. RBC from TIU, Dr. Sengupta, Dr. C.R. Moitro, Mrs. Paladhi, Onit, Shujoy, and everyone, Mohit, and everyone, the principals of the schools, the colleges, HODs from different departments. It's an honor, it's a privilege to be present here today to talk about the National Education Day, the National New Education Policy, on such a day when we had our first education minister birthday. It is the right day to start with and to plan on what we are going to do in future with the new educational policy. So today we have gathered here to celebrate the birth anniversary of Maulana Abul Kalam Azad, also known as National Education Day. Techno India University, in collaboration with institutions, Innovation Council, and wellness partner Monusheet, have organized this webinar, where the challenges and the opportunities will be discussed. We all believe that an investment in knowledge pays the best interest. Education is a non-ending path, where we live in a world where the importance of education is constantly on the rise. In today's world, educated and skilled individuals have better conditions and are more successful. A good education is necessary for every individual to move forward in life and to earn respect in the society. The job market is also focused on hiring freshers who have knowledge in specific fields. A lack of good education not only affects their life, but the overall development of the country too. Every educated individual focuses on how and what to do for the betterment of the society and the nation. If students educate themselves at the right stages of life, it will improve their chances of reaching long-term goals. Value education plays a huge part in dictating their betterment and their social status in future. If we educate children and students well and train them in a specific field, it will help them to build a successful life. Children can follow their dreams with the aid of proper education. India is the largest democracy with remarkable diversity among its population of 1.2 billion, which makes up about 17% of the world's population. Almost 70% of Indian population is rural. The adult literacy rate stands at about 60%, and this is significantly lower in women and minorities. Education in India comprises government aided and private institutions, of which nearly 40% are government. With the population growth rate of 1.5%, there is tremendous pressure on the education system to provide quality education at affordable price and improve the literacy rate. we think of what are the challenges that education or the new education policy is to be implemented in our country. The main problem is the huge population. But in comparison to the population, the number of institutes or schools or colleges and the proper infrastructure has a huge gap. The second is the 300 types of languages spoken in the country. The illiterate parents of almost 70%. And the children who do not have that set, that infrastructure by which they can actually go ahead with proper educational system. Well, the new education policy, it has worked totally in a different scientific manner to cater to the competitive pressure. Students are wanting to join the engineering colleges, the medical colleges, but this competitive pressure is again creating anxiety, creating stress. So we have to cater to that stress so that less of coaching and private tuitions are being taken by the students. It's very scientifically said that there's a holistic learning experience in this NEP, which helps the students to take better life decisions and also boosts up with the confidence of the children. The second part is the digital learning and the integration of sports into it. So a child of 6 starts learning coding. So the skill sets are being prepared for the child. And when a child is going ahead with sports activities, she or he is feeling de-stressed, feeling motivated, and gets that energy and motivation to study and give their best for the exams. The third point which we collected was the change in the pedagogical structure. Initially, it was 10 plus 2. Now it is 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. So children can have a clarity of choosing which career to take. When to come out, take the choice of her or his career and give his best for that portion. Next portion is the focus on the pre-primary and the multidisciplinary courses. Here we see that logical thinking, empathy, and skills like communication network, teamwork is being encouraged. So scientifically worked out that a child with his team, and not only him or her, can give the best and bring about a better approach to what he's planning for his future. Next is the skill-based and vocational learning. The skill gains and the positive changes in work attitudes has been noticed and will be really taken care of. A child may have secured the highest of the marks in the class. So there is a comparison and a gap between the backbenchers. What we mean to say is the ones who did not secure high marks. Does that mean that the student is actually not a good student? Studies depend not on the curriculum, not on the courses which we are providing, not on the books and the examination papers. It depends on how the child, the student, can cater to a challenging situation, take it bravely, go ahead with his confidence. He has a different potential. Only we, as the teaching community, have to tap on that potential. He may be a brilliant singer. He may be a wonderful sportsman. He may be a wonderful dancer, a painter. Well, that does not mean that he is not a good student. He may not be an engineer or a doctor, and the country does not need only engineers or doctors. Our country needs every part of the career, which helps the country to develop in totality. So it's our duty to help the children to know his or her potential. That will help them to go ahead with his passion and with his confidence, to bring about a total, satisfied, and happy nation. There was an interview in the morning today, and she was from Madhya Pradesh, Indore. Wonderful line what she said at the end. I just asked about her passion, and she told me, ma'am, my passion is to build happy schools. It was such a wonderful line. I felt a student should be happy to study and should enjoy what she or he is studying. Then only we can get the best. Next is teachers training. Teachers training is one of the biggest factors. The FTPs which we conduct have to be taken care of in an intelligent, compassionate manner, so that we do understand the teachers are responsible of how the student batch comes out. If they are compassionate, if they understand what a child needs, I think we can get the best out. So teachers training is so very important, and it will not only lead an institute to the path of success, but also it will lead to an institute which develops total human beings. Expansion of the food program. This is something very important. It's very important for India, a country where 30% of the students come from such families who do not have enough food, who cannot fill up their tummies before coming to the school or the college. পেট ভর্তি না থাকলে তো আর পড়াশোনা করা যায় না। That portion is so very important, where we as educational institutes should cater to streams like agricultural engineering, farming, so that we can increase the amount which is produced and supply it in lower rates, so that the families can afford that amount of food for the total family. I think Techno India Group is already on the run working with this phase as well. Now coming to the most important part for many of us, that is wellness. We have understood for the last 1 year, 8 months, what is wellness? What is mental health? It has taught a lot to us. When many days we block a child, a student, into those 4 walls with a laptop or a phone, she may do her studies, but she will not enjoy. So first point is, can we have an LMS which makes her or him feel that she is already in a classroom? Because after all, the presence of a teacher offline in a classroom cannot be compensated. That touch of a teacher, that pat of a teacher on the shoulder of a child to say, "Bhalo theko, অসুবিধে হয়েছে, মায়ের শরীর খারাপ, আজকে তুমি ক্লাসটা করতে পারবে না, তোমার আজকে এক্সামসটা ভালো হয়নি, কালকে হবে." That was what was missing amongst our children. It was our duty to let the children know, beshi din noy, happy days are not far off. So we are here to make you understand and believe that normal days will be back soon. But child, also try to adjust with this system of technology. This was a very important part. Again, Techno India Group has catered to building their own LMS. The second part is, how important is my family member, my family to me? We were so very diverted to the outer world. My friends, parties, alcohols, eating outside, somewhere, the total society was bound to have food in their house, home food, and with their family members. So this was maybe a lesson to learn, and which has helped us to understand how important is our family member, is my mom, my papa, my children to us. Without them, we cannot exist. Without their blessings, we can never be happy. Next comes compassion, empathy. How much are we thinking of those elderly people who are blocked in their houses, who cannot go out even when they are ill to have that medicine of theirs? Can we share our time with them, talking to them, hearing about their problems, being there to give them a medicine and make them feel that they will have their life once more back after COVID is gone? COVID has taught a lot, and we as Techno Indians have developed this mental health platform, Monosheet, which has done wonders for the children, for the students, for the teachers, and even for the parents, to make them understand that happy days are not far off. You do not be stressed. We are there to take care of in an empathic manner, to understand your problems and understand that finally, whether it's the rich or the poor, everyone needs empathy, needs that personal touch, needs education, and needs help. Lastly, about the mass vaccination, which was a fantastic way of helping the others to understand we are there together to help you to be healthy, to be secured, and as a health body, as a health partner, we can help each other. And that is where our institutes had played a wonderful role, where the teachers, after their online classes, the office people, after their office duty, were there very much with every corporate, every senior person in the group to help in the process of vaccination. So in totality, we can tell that education is not about books. It's much, much more, and Techno India Group as a family, as a total team, has shown the world, has shown the state how far we can go and yet to also to bring about a better state, a better nation. Stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was beautiful listening to you. Every time we listen to you, we are more energized, more inspired, more dynamism comes within us. We try harder, we get some courage from you. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thanks a lot.
Pleasure.
I now have the privilege to invite the Honorable Vice Chancellor of Techno India University, Professor Dr. Gautam Sengupta. Professor Dr. Gautam Sengupta is a renowned corporate personality from academics and industry. He has done his engineering from Jadavpur University, post-graduation from XLRI, and PhD from Management Sciences from Bengal Engineering and Science University. He has handled numerous key responsibilities in corporate as head of ancillarization in Tata Motors, general manager of supply chain in Philips, president of Webel Consumer Electronics, vice president of Videocon Group, chairman of Westinghouse Saxby Pharma, and many other board positions in the corporate sector. He has earned lifetime certification from the Institute of Supply Management, United States of America. He was adjudged as eminent engineer by Institution of Engineers India for his contribution to the engineering fraternity and to society. He's currently in the board of advisors of Federation of Small and Medium Industries, FOSMI West Bengal. He is in the chair of various past committees of the Bengal Chamber of Commerce and Industry, including the prestigious Bengal Resurgence Committee. He's currently in the expert committee of the National Board of Accreditation, NBA, Government of India, and the chairman of Quality Circle Forum of India, Kolkata chapter, and joint chairman of the Center of Research for Materials Management, CRIM. He is the former director of the Calcutta Business School, currently an adjunct professor of IIT Kharagpur and a former visiting professor of XLRI. He's currently the chair, continuing education at ABBS Bangalore. He teaches in numerous organizations at Los Angeles and Chicago as well. Dr. Sengupta takes keen interest in philanthropic work and is currently at the board of the Bharat Shivashram Shangho and the vice president of the Tribal Welfare Committee of the Shangho. Dr. Sengupta has to his credit numerous publications, including more than a dozen during the recent pandemic crisis, a book titled Riding Out the Crisis Management Perspective, published by Amazon. Dr. Sengupta, the Vice Chancellor of Techno India University, over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Momita. And warm welcome to all the dignitaries and my colleagues. And my profound thanks to our co-chancellor, Honorable Co-Chancellor Manushi Roy Choudhury. Whatever you are seeing today here is her brainchild. She had been talking about monocytes, and she has shown how successful this particular entity could be. And I was asked by many of my colleagues, many of them are here, like Mohit Chatterjee, Anit Adhikari, Sujoy, etc., that why don't you talk on NEP, National Education Policy. Now we discovered a connect between, deep connect between monocytes and NEP, because NEP is talking about holistic development of a child, and monocytes is also working towards the same mission. Then we thought, why not we combine this, and under monocytes umbrella, the first program we do is on national education policy. That was the thought which was approved by Honorable Co-Chancellor, and then we went ahead. Let me also tell you here, to all our colleagues and the guests and the corporate guests who are present here, the numbers are swelling, it is almost touching 200 now, that there will be a series of monocytes programs, this being the first one, almost for 3 months, and every week we are targeting and the best of the best renowned speakers will come and speak to you. The purpose is that to take care of the mental well-being part, without which we cannot do what we have been assigned to do. So that is what one of the key objective of Monosage, and I request all of your kind support in this social philanthropic work. Later on, we'll extend this to external world, to the corporates, where there are large number of employees under this COVID pandemic situation who are under deep level of stress. Now, when I start my presentation on national education policy, I was wondering for a while, what do we do? Because it takes minimum 1 week if we follow the case study pattern, situation pattern. You have to understand NEP, then you have to get into situations, hundreds of situations you have to analyze. Now that's not possible. So I thought, and also there is a heterogeneous combination of the knowledge level here. Some, I'm sure, know a lot about NEP. Some maybe knowing a little bit. So then I thought what to do. So the best way to do is to work at a level of mean. So what I will do is, I will not go into very complexities of NEP, but I will give you a bird's eye view, an overall view of NEP. And at the end, we will all jointly try to work out an action plan, right? I think you all agree, I'm sure all of you agree, that is the right way of doing. And I have two excellent colleagues who will be speaking to you. One is Dr. C.R. Mitra. He was the head of innovation in Philips, and he will dwell upon how NEP and innovation and industries are connected. And we have Dr. Pradipta Bose, who has done a lot of work on NEP. So he will be also speaking some of the detailing of the NEP clauses and sub-clauses. So that is the plan, how I want to move. Before I start the formal presentation, let me give my respect and tribute to our chairman, Professor Gautam Raichaudhuri. He thought about NEP at least 12 years back. And he said, this is the way the education in our country should move. For that matter, education in the world should move. And we are surprised to see that exactly that pattern, which he has thought and he has already initiated in this great university, the leaders have thought of that and now documented in the form of NEP. Secondly, we are not here to criticize implementation, etc., of NEP, right? We are looking at it as a science, okay? And we will be looking at the positive points of NEP, like NBA. There are many, many positive points. We'll look at that. You talk about any policy document, there are hundreds of positive points. We are a neutral body, we are an university. Amra Bishwavidyalaya. So we work on science, logic, and progress. And that's what exactly will be our deliberation. We will not at all deliberate what is why it is so and why it is not so. We'll just look at the science. As I unveil, you will see NEP is full of science. This 484-page document to start with, and now around 70-page document, is full of science. So we are only interested to look at the scientific part of this document. According to me, it is a marvelous document which has been prepared. With these words, I will, with your permission, I will go for sharing the slides. Are you able to see the slide or is there a problem?
Yes, sir, we can see the slides.
You are able to hear me as well?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Now, as we said, if there is any disruption, Momita, you let me know. I'm sure you are able to view the slide very properly. Am
Yes,
I
sir.
right?
Yes, sir, absolutely.
Okay. Now, as I said, it is a monosage launch, a session on mental well-being. And the thought as conceived and invented by Honorable Co-Chancellor, Madam Manoshi Roy Choudhury. Now, we are talking about National Education Policy 2020, the major transformational reforms in education sector. Again, as I said, it takes minimum a week to understand this policy because you have to go through certain situational analysis, case studies of various institutions. I'm not doing that. I'll be just touching upon the basic awareness which you must have. And at the end, I will try to draw an action plan because Anit, Sujoy, Mohit are there. So I'm tempted to propose a small action plan. Now, I start with the school education. Now, if you look at the policy document, it is structured in various parts. Part A talks about school education. Part 2 talks about higher education. And part 3 talks about other key areas of focus. And part 4 talks about how you make it happen. Okay. Now, talking about school education, I'm sure the leaders from the school who are sitting in this room, I welcome all of you. Now, in the school education, this document has described early childhood care and education, the foundation of learning, foundation literacy and numeracy. Look at this word, numeracy. It is talking about numeracy. Capability to have analytical ability on numerics. It is talking about curtailing dropout rates and ensuring universal access to education at all levels. Curriculum and pedagogy in schools. Learning should be holistic, integrated, enjoyable. That's what Madam Manoshi Roy Choudhury is talking about, and engaging. It's talking about teachers. It is talking about equitable and inclusive education, learning for all. It is talking about efficient resource and effective governance through school complexes. It is talking about standard setting and accreditation of school education. In a higher education, part 2, it talks about quality universities and colleges, a new and forward-looking vision for India's higher education system, institutional restructuring and consolidation towards a more holistic and multidisciplinary. I request you to mark this word again and again in this document and in my presentation. We'll talk about multidisciplinary education. This document is giving emphasis to multidisciplinary education, not a singular axis education. Optimal learning environment and support for students, motivated, energized, and capable faculty. A lot of space has been dedicated to teachers, motivated, energized, and capable faculty. Equity and inclusion in higher education, teacher education, reimagining vocational education, start vocational education right from the school, catalyzing quality academic research in all fields through a new national research foundation. There are many national bodies which are being proposed to be formed. We'll talk about it as we move forward. Transforming the regulatory system of higher education, effective grievance and leadership of higher educational institutions. Other key areas of focus: professional education, adult education and lifelong learning, promotion of Indian languages, arts and culture, technology use and integration. Huge focus has come on this area, technology use and integration. Coming few years, there will be a huge change in our education landscape, which you cannot even imagine. None of us we can imagine. NEP is only giving a vision. And whoever is not able to follow this, there is a challenge of continuance. And that is why in Techno India University, we have understood this and we are taking a step forward. Online and digital education, ensuring equitable use of technology. Part 4, making it happen. Strengthening the Central Advisory Board of Education, financing affordable and quality education for all, and implementation. So far what I was doing, I was telling you how it has been structured, this 484 pages draft and 67 pages document, which is in the public domain. It has been structured in part 1, school education, part 2, higher education, part 3, other key areas, and part 4, making it happen. Now, if you look at what has happened, what is NEP 2020 all about? Now, whether we appreciate or don't appreciate, like or don't like, the Union Cabinet has approved National Education Policy on July 29, 2020. And it will replace the National Policy on Education in 1986, 1992. Those were great policies which were formed then, and all policies have a focus. If you look at the 1986 policy, it had a focus on reservation. If you look at a 1992 policy, it had again a focus on reservation and globalizing. And if you look at 2020 policy, it is absolutely forward-looking. It looks at total reform of the education system from the point of view of we call it outcome-based education. There are many institutions sitting in this room who are national NBA accredited, and you know what is NBA? It is outcome-based education. So this NEP 2020 focuses on outcome-based education. What the industry is wanting. We have to grow our economy. And how can you grow the economy until the education is not converging with the marketplace? And that's what this particular policy has done. So every policy is great. Every policy, there are a lot of learning points. And this policy is also great. So the National Education Policy 2020 is meant to provide an overreaching vision and comprehension framework for both school and higher education. The new NEP approved by the cabinet has not been presented in Parliament. Yeah, this has been debated in many forums. We are of the opinion that whether the Parliament may take little time or whatever, we are here only to pick up the good learning points. And we are here to go ahead and implement the learning points as long as it serves the stakeholders. Stakeholders means the society around us. Otherwise, you will find, and many states have gone ahead. So I don't want to get into that discussion. It is only a policy, not a law. Kindly try to understand. It is not a law. Implementation of its proposals depends on further regulations by both states and the center, as education is a concurrent subject. State of West Bengal is studying this, and surely we will find out something more adaptable in future. But our viewpoint is, proposed viewpoint is that we take those things which will take our education forward, helping the stakeholders. Now, build a society with true sense of rights, duties, bond with country by installing skills, knowledge, values in education, which reflect as a true global citizen, equitable and vibrant knowledge and society, orientation towards rights, duties and values, develop a global mindset by installing skill and values in education. Now, as we said, the holistic development of students on cognitive as well as conceptual parameters by use of technology and innovation. Students' holistic development, flexible learning environment, no hard separation between vocational and academic. This is a great learning in this policy. Start the vocational education much early, which we have been doing in our university. Extensive use of technology, critical thinking and creativity, emphasize conceptual understanding, respect for diversity and local context, and catch them early childhood care and education, universal access to early childhood care and education. That's the success. And ensuring universal access to education at all levels, multiple pathways, build schools, learning outcomes, bring back dropouts, alternative centers, and peer tutoring. Tell me who does not like this? So that's what we are here. We will do those things. We will pick up those extremely good things, the interest of our stakeholders. Now, look at the structural change which he has brought, or which it has proposed. The structural change is, if you look at the existing academic structure, you will see that there are 2 years, 10 years, and you do not know how many years here, the bottom cube. Now this has been broken to 3 plus 2 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. Okay. Now there are a lot of emphasis which has been given on your foundational programs, starting from age of 6, and then starting from age of 3, of course, and then goes to 6. And then it moves up middle, secondary, till the complete education goes in a very structured mode, where it has been proposed 3 plus 2 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4, 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4, 2 plus 3 is 5. So 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. So if you look from a logical point of view, this brings a development in a child much faster and much at an early stage, instead of putting a lot of pressure on the child's mind during this 10 plus 2. So there's early childhood care and education. It is research and best practices, school preparation module, multifaceted framework, NCPF ECE, National Curriculum and Pedagogical Framework for Early Childhood Education. So these are very valuable research work, which is NEP contains. Then it talks about early childhood education, learning in the formative years. In the formative years, developing curiosity, logical thinking and problem solving, arts, crafts and music, relationship with nature. These are some of the beautiful things which it has spoken about. Colors, shapes, alphabets and numbers, teamwork and collaboration. In most of the industries, we find that they are suffering because teamwork and collaboration was not taught at the school, college, or university level. Play-based and discovery-based learning. Ethics, very, very important. Self-identity and behavior. Etiquette, behavior, and emotional development, extremely important. I'm sure Dr. C.R. Moitra will talk about it. We find a lot of collapse in the industry because of we don't understand what is meant by emotional intelligence. Until you have emotional intelligence, you can't understand who are the guys around you and how to handle them. So focus on NEP 2020, education policy lays particular emphasis on the development of the creative potential of each of the individual. It aims to open up the creative parts of students. The new educational policy aims at providing at all students, irrespective of their place of residence, a quality education system. The gap between the current state of learning outcomes and what is required must be bridged through undertaking major reforms that bring the highest quality, equity, integrity into the system, from early childhood care and education to higher education. Now, these are some of the proposals in national education policy, which are based on logic and science. It is up to the educators, the governance, the educator, the people who govern education system, to get the best out of it. In all my discussions at the levels of, let's say, chairman AICT or UGC, they all said it is up to the educational institutions to get best out of it. Now, So what it is talking about, it is aiming to a 50% gross enrollment ratio by 2035. These clauses, my colleague, Dr. Bose will explain. Holistic and multidisciplinary education, flexibility and subject. Multidisciplinary, it is again and again talking about multidisciplinary and holistic education. Multiple entry and exit. You, in a program, UG program will tend to be 3 or 4 years, mostly 4 years. And you can exit from the program. Don't get panicked by hearing my word. We are not going to do that in a day's time. Yeah, because that ecosystem has to be developed. So why do you put a child within the walls for 4 years? So he may exit after doing a 1 year. Again, join back. Again, he will join back. Again, he will come and join back. Similarly, after 2 years, he may exit, come back. If you look at the great people like Steve Jobs, they became Steve Jobs because their universities allowed them to exit and come back again, and pick up those subjects which they liked, and that's why they became one of the biggest industry leader in the world. PG program, it may shrink 1 or 2 years. There will be integrated 5-year bachelor's masters, but don't read anything out of what I'm saying because this all depends on the ecosystem. It takes time. These are only some of the philosophies and thoughts. MPhil may get discontinued. Yeah, because it was seen that it is not really adding any value. From 4-year UG program, an engineer may straightway go and join a PhD program. Because in a 4-year PhD UG program, if you look at the way it has been designed, NEP has designed, the last year is full of research. You know, if an engineer in the final year will only do research. So from after 4 years, he must straightway go to a PhD program. You don't need him to again put in 1 or 2 years of PG program or MPhil program, so to say. Credit transfer will happen, which we are doing, common norms of public and private HEIs, transparent system approval in place of inspection, then independent, I'm sorry, I think I jumped, yeah. Then I was there. Then credit transfer and academic bank of credit, which our university has started. That's what I was saying, the great leader, Professor Gautam Rai Chaudhuri, he looked at it long years back. So this will become one of the rule that you are permitted to do credit transfer and academic bank of credits, right? This spoken in clause 11.9. HEIs, research intensive, teaching intensive universities and autonomous degree granting colleges. There will be many autonomous degree granting colleges, which I'm sure our, in our campus, there is a college which can certainly and very comfortably go into this autonomous degree granting college. Model multidisciplinary education and research university, MERU, is a huge opportunity. And I'm sure Techno India University will be one to take this. Government is saying that in every district you have a MERU, Model Multidisciplinary Education and Research University. Then graded autonomy, academic, administrative, and financial, phasing out affiliation system in 15 years. You know, today, if you look at the affiliated colleges, it is not adding any value. You look at from the point of science. There is an university sitting there, I will not name, and there are colleges. Colleges does the education. Colleges imparts the education. University does some design of the program without understanding that what is the teaching learning method and gives a certificate. So what is that value which is a alienated university who is not connected in developing those colleges are imparting? So this affiliated system will be phased out. They're talking 15 years. I think it may happen much early. This affiliated system we learned from British, and those people have abolished this system long years back before they implemented this in India. So affiliation system will phase out. National missional mentoring will come, independent board of governors. Why do you need to put your thoughts on them? Let the board of governors work independently. Why do you put control on them? You judge by the performance. Performance means how they are supporting the stakeholders. Single regulator for higher education, this is going to happen. There will be a single regulator. Today we have many regulators, but there will be a structuring of that. Online self-disclosure based transparent system for approvals in place of inspection. The inspection Raj has to end. And online self-disclosure based transparent systems will come in place. Common norms for public and private HEIs. You cannot say a private university and government university or public university will have different norms. Private philanthropic partnership, fee fixation within broad regulatory framework, public investment in education sector to reach 6% of GDP at the earliest. National Research Foundation is being created. Internationalization of education is being focused. Integration of vocational teacher and professional education is being focused. Setting up of new quality HEIs has been made easier. Standalone HEIs and professional education institutions will evolve into multidisciplinary institutions. Special education zone for disadvantaged regions is a fantastic thought. You have like SEZ, we have special economy zone. For industries, you have special education zone for disadvantaged regions. You encourage universities to set up their base there. National Institute for Pali, Persian, and Prakrit. National Education Technology. This is something extremely important. National Education Technology Forum, NETF, will be established. MHRDA to be renamed as Ministry of Education. This already happened. Now, as I said, that affiliated college concept will go away. They're talking about 15 years. I'm afraid it may happen much early. University education is now being imparted not in the campus of the university, but through affiliated colleges in some of the cases. The teaching is done in college and the university only conducts the examination and confers the degree. Not in our case, not Techno India University, but there are many. I will not take the name. Teachers in the colleges have no control over the design of the syllabus. They don't know how the syllabus should be designed because the syllabus is dumped on their head, or the design of the question paper. They have no control over the expected standards of evaluation. This is the least desirable system of education, and other countries have given it up decades earlier. The British have had it for us, while they themselves have given it up for more than 50 years before we became independent. I was surprised to see some of the very advanced colleges in South. They are very advanced, but they are not able to do anything because their universities are not permitting them to do. So this kind of system is going to be abolished. Affiliated colleges will no longer be there. Then your question is, I'm sure, which way the affiliated colleges shall move? So what will they do? If the university takes away the affiliation or government asks them to take away the affiliation, then what way they will move? So there are three ways. One, they can be made autonomous. Like in our case, many of our colleges will either become autonomous because they are high quality. They will become autonomous. Autonomous means they will be able to design their syllabus. They will be able to take the examinations, or a cluster of colleges may form a university, or several colleges under one conglomerate may subsume, like in our case, it may happen. So these are some of the very scientific and good thoughts which are there in national education policy. Let me again repeat, by what you are compelled. You are not compelled by any government. Please note, you are compelled by the market forces. You cannot resist market forces. Government will come and go, but the market force will remain. COVID, you could not resist. So therefore, you have to embrace those policies which is good for the stakeholders. Design your own program. This is what the new education policy is talking about. We said that it is giving a choice of whether they want a 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, or 4 year course, whether they want to exit and come back again. So permit them to sit down and design their own program and choose out of a variety of programs which are being offered. Students can get a certificate for 1 year program, an advanced diploma after 2 years, a bachelor's degree after 3 years, and a bachelor's with research after 4 years. The new 2020 wants to create a system wherein students have the flexibility to join a course or leave a course as they like. And they can also change degree courses if they want to learn about different sector as per their future career needs. Yeah, Momita, you raised your hand. Momita, did you raise your hand?
Sir, this is another Momita from a participant. I think we should announce here that let the program get over.
Yeah.
The entire session.
We will continue as long as you want, maybe 12 o'clock midnight. Don't worry, we'll answer all your questions. So even on exit without completing the full duration of the program, students will have the option to re-enter the program. This is a big boon for students that they don't need to think about losing a year or two if they have been studying one course for 2 years already, etc., etc. Okay. Now it is music to my ear when I see in the policy, the mathematics and music. Just one example, of course. I'm sure Madam Tripti Chakraborty will be delighted because she knows mathematics as good as she knows music as well. So why can't we combine mathematics and music? So all graduate courses will have one major course, which will be the core subject, and one minor subject, which will be additional in order to enhance the students' interest in the subject by giving flexibility. NEP 2020 aims to provide students with the opportunity to learn music and maths, coding and chemistry together via the interdisciplinary approach. For example, a science student, a student in mathematics, the major subject, can opt for music as well. Now, NBA and NEP has huge correlation and interdependence. Now, if you are not NBA, your existence is at stake. If you are not NAC, your existence is at stake. NEP is not an act. NEP is an umbrella. NEP is a vision. Now, if we look at NEP 2020, it professes several of the thinking of National Board of Accreditation. For example, many of the institutions are NBA accredited here, who are sitting here. So in NBA, what we talk about? We talk about 12 GAs. We talk about 12 graduate attributes. We do not talk about mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, civil engineering, electronics engineering. We are saying engineering, of course, is a basic foundation, but you have to have 12 graduate attributes, which are engineering knowledge, problem analysis, design development of solutions, conduct investigations of complex problems, modern tool usage, environment and sustainability, ethics, individual and teamwork, communication, project management and finance, and lastly, lifelong learning. So that is also the essence of NEP 2020. Like problem analysis, environment and sustainability, individual and teamwork, communication, lifelong learning have all been ingrained in NEP 2020. In NBA, where I am the member of the expert team, if there is no lifelong learning, that learning is of no use. You get out of the university or college and you have no touch with your learning. That is of no use. Engineering will get redefined. Over years, we have grossly overrated engineering vis-a-vis other programs. There is no reason why elitist status shall go only to engineering. You look overseas. There is no elitist status given to engineering. Looking at the world ranking of universities in India, 8 out of 10 are engineering universities. Why? Because we have not focused on other creative areas. This does not happen overseas. Engineering institutes are most coveted, which grows rapidly, but with low quality. That's what exactly is happening. We are seeing a rapid growth of engineering industries, engineering institutions, but quality is suffering. Not our case. In Techno India University, our quality is improving year by year. We are talking about, it is more on behavioral aspect. NEP is talking about T-shaped skills. T-shaped means more of generalizing specialists, not the I-shaped specialists who are only thinking in one direction. Okay, and generalists only think of horizontal, but we are looking for generalized specialists. The T-shaped skill is recommended to be promoted. Motivated, energized, and capable faculty, extremely important. So that's why we are launching Monosheets. You are our asset. All the faculty members, 200 faculty members sitting here are our asset. We need to motivate, energize, train, retrain them so that they grow with us. We are one university who have taken care of them totally. And then equity and inclusion, gender identities, socio-cultural identities, geographical identity, disabilities, socio-economic conditions. So this is the equity and inclusions. Then teacher education, this will take a long time to discuss, but this is one very, very important area where we have to give much focus in educating, motivating, reskilling our teachers. So this is what has been proposed. Many of these things we will be doing. Teacher recruitment and deployment will have very, very scientific basis. Teacher education. Empowering the teachers. Teachers have to be fully empowered. The administrative, those layers should not demerit the motivation of a teacher. Reimagining vocational education, which Anit is here, he has already started. By 2025, at least 50% of learners through the school and higher education system shall have exposure to vocational education. We must give the vocational education early stage, in the school stage. We must teach them computers, we must teach them coding, very, very early stage. So this is the reimagining vocational education. Then skill-based mainstream education. Technology use and integration, it is again a big subject. ICT, digital, we are very advanced in this. I congratulate Techno India University, we are very, very, very advanced. And without this, we cannot just exist in the new world which is coming. NEP is talking about huge focus on technology use and integration. And they are talking about certain framework, how to implement technology use and integration, disruptive technology, artificial intelligence, and all other technology innovations we are talking about. As I said, National Educational Technology Forum is being formed. We should all take advantage of that. And therefore, these are very futuristic. As I said, NETF, National Education Technology Forum, these we have to take, because of paucity of time, I cannot explain this more. So this is the teachers' professional development in Diksha platform. Like that, there are many, many things which are being proposed and which are being formed. National Research Foundation, technology use and integration, role of HEIs, play an active role in conducting research. Research. The NEP has given a lot of emphasis on research. Then recognizes the importance of leveraging the advantage of technology while acknowledging the potential risks and dangers. So these are some of the things. Online education and digital education coming in a big way. There is no way we can get out of it. Therefore, and we should not. And therefore, we have to understand how to get best out of it. There, I think teaching skills, teacher skills. We have to, university will help you. Your skills for digital platform, which is required. That will go in a big way. NEP is talking about this. We will go in a big way to support our teachers, train our teachers, educate our teachers, special programs on online teaching. So online and digital education will be at the forefront. So these are some of the things: pilot studies on online education, digital infrastructure, online teaching platform and tools, virtual labs. So all this will be dealt in a big way. NEP is talking about hearing the voice of industry, and that is why Dr. C.R. Moitra is here. They say, don't hear whisper, hear the whisper of the industry, not the voice, what they are asking, what they are wanting, and bring that into your curriculum. Okay. Yeah. So this is the complete, this model says that you continuously improve by taking feedback. There is no end of improvement. Take feedback and improve. So that's what these our people are already have expert. I was talking about OBE. I was saying that let us take some immediate tasks. We'll have NEP session 2, NEP session 3, NEP session 4, like that. But in this session, let us take a task that our teaching learning process are based on OBE. I am sure some of the institution answer is yes, but there are some of the institution the answer is no. And if you have not implemented OBE, then you cannot get NB accreditation or NAC accreditation. OBE is nothing but outcome-based education. How have you redesigned your curriculum towards the outcome? Means connecting it with the market. Are you bringing the cases in your classrooms, live cases? So this is a matter of discussion. So this should be one of the action point. We would like to hear all the institutions who are here, their proposals. Either they have implemented, whoever has not implemented, they must work out a plan. We are here to support you to implement OBE in your teaching learning system. Okay, this is one action plan you must have. Bloom's taxonomy. This is something some of the institutions have done, I'm sure. Some have not done, and some are not aware of. So we can have a separate session on Bloom's taxonomy. I will just tell you, I will show you a picture. Bloom's taxonomy says if you are asking your child to just read some text, then he is only remembering and he will forget in no time. And if you are giving him some more application, he is understanding. If you are asking him to do, he is applying. And if you are asking him to analyze, then he is analyzing and learning more. And if you are asking him to evaluate and teach, if you ask the student to teach, then he goes in the top pyramid of the Bloom's taxonomy. Bloom's taxonomy has been spoken enough in NBA, NAC, and by National Education Policy. So my second task, which I am giving with permission of all of you, is if you have not implemented OBE, please do so. Tell us why you are not able to implement. We will help you. Next is please implement Bloom's taxonomy. Now, if you say I have implemented, I would like to see your curriculum. Have you connected your curriculum with the Bloom's taxonomy levels? I would like to see your syllabus. I would like to see your question papers. When you are setting a question paper, are you connecting with the different levels of Bloom's taxonomy? This is a must. In an NBA assessment, we see this. So if you have not done, please do that. Okay? We'll hear your response on this, because I'm putting a very, very small task or small wish list on you. So I have said, I have put, you see, in a lecture, you only retain 5% of what you hear. If you read, you only take 10%. Like this lecture, you may be not even retaining 5% because you are not doing anything, you are listening. So when you read 10%. When you audio visual, okay, this is a little more audio visual. So maybe a little more. When you demonstrate 30%, group discussion 50%, practice by doing 70%. And when you teach others, you retain 90%. That's what is Bloom's taxonomy talking about. So I have, if you tell me what I have done, this is called cone of learning. 10% of what we read. After 2 weeks, we tend to remember 10% of what we read, 20% of what we hear, 30% of what we see, 50% of what we see and hear, and 70% what we say, and 90% what we say and do. Okay, so I have just summarized with 3 tasks. One is online proficiencies of our teachers. Everyone, every institute must work out what is the online proficiency. Draw a grid chart. What is the online proficiency? 2, voice of industry. Are you changing your curriculum? 3, continuous improvement, feedbacks. 4, OBE, and 5, Bloom's taxonomy. So these are 5 simple things. This is an example of a Bloom taxonomy. There's no time. I cannot explain to you. These are 5 simple things. I'm not telling you that you analyze NEP. You do these 5 small things. We will have at least 3-4 sessions on NEP again. So with these words and with your permission, I will stop sharing the slides. And I would request our colleagues, there are many very eminent people sitting here. Yeah, and I will request the next speaker, and then we'll go for a question answer. Yeah, over to you, Momita.
Thank you so much, sir. Indeed, I have, I think, about 5 pages of notes already. So, well, I will definitely have some questions.
Yeah.
But without further ado, I invite our next speaker, Dr. Pradipto Bose, who is our Deputy Registrar. He's a graduate in Electronics and Telecommunication Engineering from Jadavpur University, a rank holder. He's credited with more than 30 years of experience in reputed industries such as Philips in various quality management and engineering management areas. He has in-depth knowledge and understanding of concepts like lean manufacturing, Six Sigma, ISO 9000, TQM, TPM, 5S, Kaizen, innovations, NBA, and AICTE requirements, etc. He's a certified quality specialist from SGS and trained on quality management tools and techniques, design evaluation techniques, and design of experiment techniques. Sir, a great welcome to you. Over to you.
Thank you, Momita. It's my pleasure to be a part of this wonderful session. I express my sincere gratitude to our Honorable Co-Chancellor, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Honorable Director Madam, and other dignitaries who are present today. And I'll just share my slides. It's taking a little time, please bear with me. Yeah. Are my slides visible and am I audible?
Loud and clear, sir, and we can see the slides.
Thank you so much. Yeah, so Dr. Sengupta has told in quite some detail about a lot of points of national education policy. So what I'll do, I'll deal with the portion on higher education, that is part 2, which comprises of chapters 9 to 19 of the policy. I'll just go through the salient features. So chapter 9 is talking about quality universities and colleges, a new and forward-looking vision for India's higher education system. Now the policy recognizes higher education as to play a pivotal role, not only in the building individual excellence, but also in terms of societal development and building up the nation as a whole. So quality higher education, it's stressing on this again and again, must aim to develop good, thoughtful, well-rounded and creative individuals. So that's the first aim of the policy. It's a major aim of the policy. Now, it must also enable an individual, like Sir was referring about T-skilling, to study one or more specialized area of interest at a deep level, in specialization in one level, but simultaneously also develop character, ethical and constitutional values, intellectual curiosity, scientific temper, creativity, spirit of service, and it's talking about some 21st century capabilities like AI, machine learning, things like that, across a range of disciplines, including sciences, social sciences, arts, humanities, languages, as well as professional, technical, and vocational subjects. So it is aiming to develop an individual not only in terms of technical knowledge, but also have essence of art and culture, and also professional and vocational education. So a quality higher education must enable personal accomplishment and enlightenment, constructive public engagement, and productive contribution to the society. So it's looking at a macro view, and it must prepare students for more meaningful and satisfying lives and work roles, and enable economic independence. So this is what chapter 9 is telling. Next, it is identifying, the policy has identified some lacunas that currently is being faced by the higher education system in India. The first one is a severely fragmented higher education ecosystem. So it is thinking that there are these deemed universities, then technical universities, affiliated systems, things like that, which is fragmenting the higher education ecosystem, and we have to get out of it. It is there is less emphasis presently on the development of cognitive skills and learning outcomes. It is going more into bookish learning, mugging up things, and then giving examinations and getting good marks in examinations, things like that. So we have to again take it out and go for continuous evaluation, formative assessments, and things like that. Then there's a rigid separation of disciplines with early specialization and streaming of students in narrow areas of study. That is the I-skilling, which Sir was talking about. So it's now present system is dealing with I-skillings and not so much of T-skilling. So limited access, particularly in socio-economic disadvantaged areas. In many areas which are backward in India, there are very few and almost non-existent higher education institutions. And there are almost none that teach in local languages. So the policy is talking about inclusion and equity to include socially disadvantaged groups into the bringing the socially disadvantaged group into the gamut of education. Then limited teacher and institutional autonomy. Then inadequate mechanisms for merit-based career management and progression of faculty and institutional leaders. This is one of the major lacuna that our education system is facing at present. Then it has identified research as one of the most weaknesses of the system at present compared to what is being done globally. So suboptimal governance and leadership of HIs, an ineffective regulatory system, and large affiliating universities resulting in low standards of undergraduate education. And this policy is proposing a complete overhaul of the India's higher education system. So by doing the following, so moving towards multidisciplinary universities and colleges with more HIs across India that offer medium of instruction in local Indian languages. So it is stressing very much on this holistic multidisciplinary universities and colleges for higher education. Note the word multidisciplinary, it is stating this again and again. And medium of instruction in local languages to introduce this. So moving towards a more multidisciplinary undergraduate education, faculty and institutional autonomy, revamping of curriculum, pedagogy, assessment, and student support to match this, above, reaffirming the integrity of faculty and institutional leadership positions, establishment of NRF, that is the National Research Foundation, to take research into the fast track, governance of HIs by independent boards having academic and administrative autonomy, light but tight, this word is being used, light but tight regulation by a single regulator for higher education to bring more transparency in the process, increased access, equity, and inclusion, which it's talking about again and again. Now, chapter 10 is about institutional restructuring and consolidation. Now, here the policy is drawing a leaf from our heritage, that is our history, where India had very renowned universities like Nalanda, Vikramshila, Takshashila, etc., which were large multidisciplinary universities with lot of students and many international students also. So the policy is envisaging to bring back India into that state again. So by 2040, all higher educational institutes shall aim to become multidisciplinary institutions, each of which will aim to have 3,000 or more students. This is the target for by 2040. But this is not very easy to achieve. So it will be done in phases. So there shall by 2030 be at least one large multidisciplinary higher education institution in or near every district of India. This is the target for 2030. And by 2040, all these HAIs must be multidisciplinary, having more than 3,000 students. So the aim will be to increase gross enrollment ratio in higher education, including vocational education, from a 26.3%, which was the figure in 2018, to 50% by 2035. So this policy is aiming to bring more and more people under the aegis of education. So growth will be in both public and private institutions with a strong emphasis on developing a large number of outstanding public institutions. It is defining a university. It will, by university, it will mean a multidisciplinary institution of higher learning that offers undergraduate and graduate programs with high quality teaching, research, and community engagement. This term, it is emphasizing, it's bringing in community engagement in a definition of one university. Now, this is quite important. The definition of university will thus allow a spectrum of institutions that range from those that place equal emphasis on teaching and research, which it is talking about as research in universities. Equal emphasis on teaching and research universities. Those that place greater emphasis on teaching but still conduct significant research, they are naming it as teaching universities. So there will be research universities at the apex, and then there will be teaching universities, and there will be autonomous degree granting colleges, which will refer to a large multidisciplinary institution that grants undergraduate degrees, and it's primarily focused on undergraduate teaching, though it will not be restricted to that. And it is saying that this is not a static thing, but it will be a dynamic process, and autonomous colleges can move to teaching universities or research universities in future. Okay, So a stage-wise mechanism for granting graded autonomy to colleges through a transparent system of graded accreditation will be established. HEIs will have the autonomy and freedom to move gradually from one category to another based on their plans, actions, and effectiveness. These three broad types of institutions, as I was saying, are not in any natural way a rigid exclusionary categorization, but are along a continuum. Okay, so this is one major thing that it is saying in institutional restructuring and consolidation. Now, HEI's role will not be restricted just to teaching and research only, but they have to support other HEIs in their development by forming clusters, community engagement and service, contribution to various fields of practice, faculty development for higher education system, and support to school education. These shall also be the function of the higher education institutions. And it's laying quite some stress on open distance learning and online programs to increase the reach of education and to improve the gross enrollment ratio, but provided they are accredited to do so. So there will be no single stream HEIs, there will be no single stream HEIs anymore. Those will be phased over time and will move towards becoming vibrant multidisciplinary institution or parts of vibrant multidisciplinary HEI clusters. It's talking about higher education institution clusters so that one education institution can get the best from another educational institution and all may benefit. The system of affiliated college, as Sir was telling, will be gradually phased over a period of 15 years through a system of graded autonomy and to be carried out in a challenge mode. The overall higher education sector will aim to be an integrated higher education system, including professional and vocational education. So the present complex nomenclature of HEIs in the country, such as deemed to be university, affiliating technical university, unitary university, shall be replaced simply by university on fulfilling the criteria as per norms. So there will be only university, no deemed university, affiliating university, technical university, etc., etc. Now, chapter 11 is talking about moving towards a more holistic and multidisciplinary education. Here it is taking a leaf out of Banabhatta's Kadambari, our history, which refers to 64 kalas or arts as an indicator of good education. The kalas, in that sense, does not refer to pure arts, but more of liberal arts. And it would include, apart from music and painting, it would also mean engineering education, then chemistry, mathematics, sciences. It would mean professional education. It would also mean vocational education, everything combined. So taking cue from that, it is saying that a holistic and multidisciplinary education would aim to develop all capacities of human beings, intellectual, aesthetic, social, physical, emotional, and moral integrated manner. And this they are referring as the highest recommendation of this policy, multidisciplinary education and setting up multidisciplinary institutions. This they are saying is the highest recommendation of this policy. So such a holistic education shall be in the long term the approach of all undergraduate programs, including those in professional, technical and vocational disciplines. Even engineering institutions such as IITs will move towards more holistic and multidisciplinary education with more arts and humanities. So IITs will induct more arts and humanities in the system. Students of arts and humanities will aim to learn more science, and all will make an effort to incorporate more vocational subjects and soft skills. So it will be an integrated thing. It's looking at a holistic development of education, higher education. So imaginative and flexible curricular structures will enable creative combinations of disciplines for study. As the example this is showed, the mathematics and music, and would offer multiple entry and exit points. So there will be thrust on languages, literature, music, philosophy, Indology, art, dance, theater, education, mathematics, statistics, pure and applied sciences, sociology, economics, sports, translation and interpretation, etc. All these will be having focus and will be established and strengthened at all HEIs. So curricula of all HEIs will include credit-based courses and projects also in the areas of community engagement. This will be compulsory courses in areas of community engagement and service, environmental education, and value-based education. Now, this is important what research touched upon. The undergraduate degree will be either of 3 or 4 years duration with multiple exit options within this period with appropriate certifications. So there will be if somebody wants to exit after 1 year, he'll be given a certificate in the required discipline or field, including vocational and professional areas. After 2 years, if somebody wants to exit, he'll be given a diploma. Okay, and he may re-enter the program after a gap of 1 or 2 years. Now there will be a 3-year, after 3 years, it will be called a bachelor's degree. And after 4 years, the same thing will be called a multidisciplinary bachelor's degree. Okay, and this shall be the preferred option. For the master's program, there will be an option for 1 year or 2 years. So 1 year with a 4 years multidisciplinary bachelor degree will be allowed 1 year master's program, and with a 3 years bachelor degree he has to do a 2-year program. And there will be also an integrated 5 years bachelor master program, which is also now it is there in many of the IITs. Now for PhD, either you have to complete a master degree or a 4-year bachelor degree with research. There will be something called bachelor degree with research, where the incumbent has to complete 1 research project in his 4th year. Okay, MPhil program will be discontinued. So an academic bank of credit shall be established, and this is the method through which a student can exit and enter the program without losing credits. An academic bank of credit shall be established, which would digitally store the academic credits earned from various recognized HEIs, so that the degrees from an HEI can be awarded taking into account credits earned. The credits shall be stored in the name of the student. There will be an account, and when he re-enters the program, he can start. He will have a bank of credit. From that, he will start other credits. Okay, so that should be, and that can happen in another university of his choice, not in the same university. So these type of flexibilities are coming. The policy is proposed. So the 4-year program, as you were saying, may also lead to a degree with research if the student completes a rigorous research project in the major area of study as specified by the HEI. MPhil program should be discontinued. Now the policy proposes establishment of model public universities for holistic and multidisciplinary education at par with IITs and IIMs, called MERUs, Multidisciplinary Education Research Universities, will be set up and will aim to attain highest global standards in quality education. And gradually these MERUs will be set up all across the country in every district of the country. So HEIs will focus on research and innovation by setting up startup incubation centers, technology development centers, centers in frontier areas of research, greater industry academic linkages and interdisciplinary research, including humanities and social science research. So now stress is placed equally on humanities and social science research apart from technical research. Now, Chapter 12 talks about optimal learning environments and support for students. So institutions and faculty will be given autonomy to innovate on matters of curriculum, pedagogy, and assessment within a broad framework of higher education qualifications. All assessment systems shall also be decided by the educational institutions. HEI shall move to a criterion-based grading system that assesses students' achievement based on learning goals for each program. So assessment system will undergo overhauling. They shall also move away from high-stakes examination, that is the year-end and semester-end examinations, towards more continuous and comprehensive examinations. That is, they are stressing more on formative assessments rather than summative assessments. Now, every institution will integrate academic plans into its larger institution development plan. So every institution has to develop its own plan called institution development plan, and in that it has to incorporate everything starting from academic plans, administrative and financials, etc. High quality support centers and professional academic and career counseling will be made available to all the students. So the HEIs will be allowed to do open distance learning and online education, provided it meets the norms and standards which the regulators will specify. So all programs, courses, curricula, and pedagogy across subjects, including those in-class, online, and nodal modes, as well as student support, will aim to achieve global standards of quality. There will be systems to regulate online distance education to be of standards which are equivalent to in-class education. Now, chapter 12 is talking about internationalization in a big way. So large number of international students studying in India and greater mobility of students in India to study or transfer credits or carry out research at institutions abroad. So there will be a exchange of students. India will be promoted as a global study destination, providing premium education at affordable cost. So the policy expects a large inflow of foreign students. So there will be an international students office in all the HEIs to help foreign students, welcoming them and supporting them. Now, there will be research, teaching collaborations and faculty-student exchanges with high-quality foreign institutions. Then, high-performing Indian universities are encouraged to set up campuses in other countries. So, very good Indian universities, excellent universities, will be allowed to set up campuses in overseas. Similarly, selected universities, those from among top 100 universities in the world, will be facilitated to operate in India. So this may open a totally new avenue in higher education. And a legislative framework supporting the entry of these foreign universities will be in place. This chapter is also talking about student activity and participation, judging that students are the main stakeholders of the higher education system. There will be plenty of opportunity participation in sports, extracurricular activities, community service projects, etc. There shall be counseling system for handling stress and emotional adjustment. Hostel facilities will be enhanced, and this is standards quality medical facilities has to be there in all institutions. Then financial supports, efforts will be made to incentivize the merit of students belonging to SC, ST, OBC, and other socio-economic disadvantaged groups. So private HAs will be encouraged to offer large numbers of free seats and scholarships to the students. Now, chapter 13 is talking about motivated, energized, and capable faculty. So all HEIs will be equipped with basic infrastructure, that is the hygiene factors, and facilities including clean drinking water, clean working toilets, blackboards, offices, teaching supplies, libraries. Now, presently, many of the HEIs are not having these basic facilities. So it will, all HEIs have to have these hygiene facilities. Now, every classroom shall have access to latest educational technology that enables better learning experience. This is to motivate the faculty and energize the teachers. Faculty will be given the freedom to design their own curricular and pedagogical approaches within the approved framework. So they will design the courses, the assessment methods, they will recommend the test books, and they will formulate their own pedagogical approaches, etc. They have HEIs will have clearly defined independent, transparent processes and criteria for faculty recruitment. So there will be faculty recruitment shall be a very systematic process, and no ad hoc things will be allowed any further. Chapter 14, this is a lot of stress has been placed on this equity and inclusion in higher education to bring in more and more socio-economic development disadvantaged groups into the gamut of higher education. So actions that are specific to higher education shall be adopted by all governments and HEIs. So steps to be taken by governments is earmark suitable government funds for education of SDGs, set clear targets for higher GER, enhance gender balance for admission to HEIs, enhance access by establishing more quality HEIs and aspiration to special education zones. They will set up special education zones, as Sir was talking. Develop and support high quality HEIs that teach in local Indian languages or bilingually. So this is stressed upon local Indian languages. HEIs teaching should be bilingual and also in local Indian languages. provide more financial assistance scholarship to SEDGs in both public and private HAIs, conduct outreach programs on higher education opportunities. This backward classes, the SC, ST, and SEDGs, they hardly know about higher education opportunities, so they cannot avail of them, leave alone availing of them. So there'll be outreach programs on higher education opportunities and scholarships among SEDGs. Develop and support technology tools for better participation and learning outcomes. And similarly, the HEIs will take some steps. So mitigate opportunity costs and fees for pursuing higher education, provide more financial assistance scholarship, make admission and curriculum more inclusive, increase employability potential of higher education programs, develop more degree courses taught in English and bilingually, ensure all building facilities are wheelchair accessible and disabled friendly, develop bridge courses for students with disadvantaged educational backgrounds, provide socio-emotional and academic support, then strict enforcement, all no discrimination and anti-harassment rules. So, and these all to come in the institutional development plan. So chapter 15 is talking about teacher education. Now, in teacher education, there'll be introduction of a 4-year integrated stage-specific, subject-specific B.Ed degree, which we offered at multidisciplinary institutions, and this would be the way forward. Ultimately, all teachers have to, especially school teachers, have to do this 4-year integrated B.Ed. So a new and comprehensive national curriculum framework for teacher education will be formulated by National Council of Teacher Education in consultation with NCERT. So by 2030, the target is the minimum degree qualification for teaching will be a 4-year integrated B.Ed degree that teaches a range of knowledge content and pedagogy and includes strong practical training in the form of student teaching at local schools. Stringent actions will be taken against substandard standalone teacher education institutions. Now there was a Justice Verma Commission formed by Supreme Court had identified 10,000 such teacher education institutions which are only not conducting any substantial educational courses as such, but are only awarding degrees for prize. So these will be stringent actions will be taken against such substandard standalone teacher education institutions. And there will be a national mission of mentoring with a large pool of outstanding senior retired faculty, including those with the ability to teach in Indian language, who will be willing to provide short and long-term mentorship, professional support to university college teachers. And also one point which is missing here, what I'd like to stress is that in the PhD curriculum, in the future PhD curriculum, there will be an element of teacher education, there will be an element of teacher education and practical classes, class taking, which will come in because it is envisaging that the PhD degree holders will move on to be teachers in future, higher education teachers. So PhD curriculum, this will be mandatory. This pedagogy, designing curriculum, all these things which concerns teachers education. Then chapter 16 is talking about vocational education. Vocational education integrated in all school and higher education institutions in a phased manner of the next decade. And vocational education will form part of this multidisciplinary So by 2025, at least 50% of learners through the school and higher education system shall have exposure to vocational education, for which a clear action plan, targets, and timelines will be developed. Higher education institutions will offer vocational education either on their own or in partnership with industry and NGOs. Now, the government introduced a BVoc degree in 2013, which will continue to exist. This degree will not be discontinued, it will continue to exist, but vocational courses will also be available to students enrolled in all other bachelor's degree programs, including the 4-year multidisciplinary bachelor's programs. So these bachelor degree programs will have a compulsory vocational education section. Lok Vidya, that is important vocational knowledge developed in India, will be made accessible to students through integration into vocational education courses. The possibility of offering vocational courses ODL mode, that are open distance learning mode, will also be explored. Now, MHRD, incidentally, the policy is suggesting MHRD to be renamed as Ministry of Education. So MHRD will constitute a National Committee for Integration of Vocational Education, NCIV, a new one, consisting of experts in vocational education and representatives from across ministries in collaboration in industry to oversee this effort of integrating vocational education. Incubation centers will be set up in higher education institution partnership with industries. Now, this is important. Indian standards will be aligned with the international standard classification of occupation maintained by the ILO, International Labour Organization. So the standards will be revamped for vocational education. Incidentally, in the 12th five-year plan, only about less than 5% of the 14 to 17-year-old youths have opted for vocational educations, as compared to 52% in US, 75% in Germany, and 96% in South Korea. So this is an area of concern, and that's why the policy is laying so much stress on this vocational education. The credit-based framework will also facilitate mobility across general and vocational education. Now, chapter 17 is talking about research, improvement in research through a new National Research Foundation. So despite the critical importance of research, which we all know, the research and innovation investment in India is at the current time only 0.69% of GDP. As
Dr. Bose, I think we are striking 7 p.m. So yeah, some of the points you skip.
We have another 2-3 slides.
Yeah. So some of the points, because we have one more speaker.
Yeah.
Dr. C.R. Moitra, so skip some of the points, right?
It's nearly over. The main points are over.
Okay, because I'm sorry, it's a wonderful presentation, but you know what happens is we have to also do justice to the time.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
It will only take another 5 minutes. So,
okay.
So the current time only 0.69% of GDP as compared to 2.8% in United States of America, 4.3% in Israel, and 4.2% in South Korea. So it is recommending establishment of NRF, National Research Foundation. The goal of the NRF will be to enable a culture of research to permeate through our universities. The NRF will govern NRF will be governed independently of the government. It will be an independent body by rotating board of governors consisting of the very best researchers and innovators across fields. Primary activities will be to fund competitive research, seed, grow, and facilitate research, act as a liaison between researchers, government, and industry, and recognize outstanding research and progress. Chapter 18 is this is an important chapter. This is transforming the regulatory system of higher education. So regulatory system of higher education will ensure that the distinct functions of regulation, accreditation, funding, and academic standard setting will be performed by distinct, independent, and empowered bodies. So it's separating regulation, accreditation, funding, and academic standard setting. So these 4 structures will be set up as 4 independent verticals within one umbrella institution, which will be called the Higher Education Commission of India, HECI. So the first vertical of HECI will be National Higher Education Regulatory Council, NHERC. It will function as a common single point regulator for the higher education sector, including teacher education, excluding medical and legal education. Second vertical will be the meta-accrediting body, National Accreditation Council. Accreditation institutions will be based primarily on basic norms, public self-disclosure, good governance, and outcomes, and it will be carried out by an independent ecosystem of accrediting institutions supervised and overseen by NSC. The third council will be the Higher Education Grants Council, which will carry out funding and financing of higher education based on transparent criteria. And fourth vertical will be a General Education Council, which will frame expected learning outcomes for higher education programs, also referred to as graduate attributes. A national higher education qualification framework will be formulated under the GEC. The functioning of all these bodies will be based on transparent public disclosure and use of technology extensively to reduce human interface to ensure efficient and transparency in their work. The professional council like ICR, BCR, NCT, COA, NCVET will act as professional standard setting bodies only. The separation of functions would mean that each vertical within HECI would take on a new single role, which is relevant, meaningful, and important in this new regulatory regime. So this is a major change which is proposed in the power policy. Now, this I will skip. Chapter 18 is also talking about curbing commercialization of education, which you can well understand. There will be a cap on the fees, and surpluses will be reinvested in the educational sector. So chapter 19, which is the last chapter of the higher education part, effective governance and leadership of higher education institutions. It's talking about a suitable system of graded accreditation and graded autonomy and in a phased manner over a period of 15 years. All HEIs will aim to become independent self-governing institutions pursuing innovation and excellence. So after they receive such accreditation, they'll appoint a board of governors. Equity consideration will also taken into care with selecting members. The BOG of an institution will be empowered to govern the institution free of any external interference. It is envisaged that all HEIs will be incentivized, supported, and mentored during the process and shall aim to become autonomous and have such an empowered BOG by 2035. So by 2035, all institutions will have this kind of BOGs. The BOG shall be responsible and accountable to all stakeholders to transparent self-disclosure of all relevant records. It will be responsible for meeting all regulatory guidelines maintained by Higher Education Council of India through National Higher Education Regulation Council. So this is all what is told in the in part 2, that is the higher education part. Thank you so much for listening so patiently. I now come out of my presentation.
Thank you very much.
Momita, you have a tough job to handle because now it is already 7 p.m.
Yes. Thank you so much, sir. And indeed, so many points are coming, so there will be questions also. So without further ado, right now, I will just invite the next speaker, very eminent speaker that we have with us. He is Professor Dr. C.R. Moitro, and he's an engineer from Jadavpur University. He has also degrees from IIM Kolkata and SQC from Calcutta Productivity Council. He has worked in MNCs for more than 30 years in various functional areas with experience in product innovation, process innovation, quality management, project management, operations management, supply chain management. He has been heading Philips India TV development from 1998 to 2007. Competence Development Program for India has had him as expert, and he has interacted with overseas manufacturing and innovation centers of Philips. He has spent more than 9 years in training, teaching, and consultancy. A very warm welcome to you, sir. Over to you.
Thank you. I'll straight away move to screen. Can you see? Is my presentation visible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, it is visible. And your voice is loud.
And you can hear me also?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. So without waiting further, this is, topic is innovation in industry and national education policy. The point is, innovation in industry is an age-old phenomenon. Right from the light bulb, which has really made a big impact in our lives, to automobile, motor cars, and then aeroplanes. And in recent times, we have seen Apple products. We have seen, many other things like Uber, Tesla. There are disruptive innovation, Paytm in our locality. So these are the things which has happened because of innovation. Now the question comes, why we are trying to relate only innovation with national education policy? Is it the only requirement or in the industry from national education policy? I would say no, but the importance of innovation has tremendously grown over the last many years, because innovation is no longer now limited to product innovation. The innovation is applicable on a day-to-day basis in all main functionalities in an industry. You talk about marketing, there is a huge marketing innovation in many areas. A breakthrough marketing innovation is Netflix. You know that how the whole game has changed. There are supply chain also. There is a massive change in the in innovation. If you look at any of these Amazon warehouses, you will see enormous amount of robot is moving in a tireless manner. And when you talk about industry, basically many of us are from industry, we find that industry is moving very steadily, but towards the industry 4.0. And not to talk about another very important area, that after sales and service, it is also going through a dramatic change, but we'll discuss it when the time comes. So that is the importance of innovation, and that is the connect to national education policy, because many a times what happens, that the industry expectation and what the educational system, that is college and universities, deliver, there is a disconnect. The expectation is does not match with what is delivered. So that is why sometimes it is better, we have discussed that it is better to get some feedback and correct some of the I would not say parameters, but some of the things on the way. So we will just discuss this 5 topics. What is why innovation? Because if we can answer why it is required, then probably we will answer many things. What is innovation? You all know, but shortly from our point of view, from industry point of view, and from the since innovation and product is very well connected, I will also talk about a little bit about product innovation and how innovation is connected to national education policy that we will try to establish, and how this NEP will augment innovation in industry. So finally, we would like to have a small conclusion, but that is only on my personal capacity. So we start with why innovation. Why innovation? Innovation is not an option, it's a must, because if you do not innovate in today's world, you are not likely to compete in a market. And what happens when you are in a gradually the more and more competitors are coming into the market, and the what is happening, the profit share is going down and down, and there is a cutthroat competition and arising in a lot of bloodbath and creating a red ocean. So that is the concept which is being spoken about right now, that you innovate and move away from the competition. So many companies have survived the COVID pandemic, and if you notice, some of the companies post pandemic and during pandemic has not only prospered, but has grown faster than previous years. But many of them have really suffered, like construction industry. So here I have seen application of innovation in this kind of scenario, where one company which employs about 200 people, and he is a second tier supplier, engineering goods. So what happened, that they were under complete lockdown. So what they did during lockdown, lockdown, there was a big problem because they could not, finance more than first 2 months. Then these people were basically in a very big distress. So they started, making masks. And for masks, what they did, they started training on smartphone. And some people, of course, did not have that facility. So they were brought in small groups and were trained. And many, many house also volunteered that they have sewing machine. So with that, they started, and final products were brought to the factory, and then sterilized, packed, and sent for sales. So this is the way. And in fact, this group were really reduced in terms of financial stress. And what happened after it has gone for production in a regular course, their spouses have taken over this activity. So this company is also parallelly running that show till this point of time. So application of innovative idea even in pandemic. So we have discussed that innovation is not limited to product and service. Innovation is also spreading into marketing, supply chain, operation, and service that we have discussed. So what has happened that, innovative ideas have helped many companies prosper in a complex scenario. You will find that, I am not talking about, digital payment system or, the net-based supply system. Even many engineering industry like, automobiles, like, steel has also, done well. But on the other hand, there are many industries like hospitality sector has very severely affected because of pandemic. The question is, if you look at on the right hand side, this is the list of most innovative companies in the world, the ranking of top 50. Now, in most of the cases, excluding probably an Apple, which is number 1, you will not find, you will not remember a breakthrough product. But many of them are also operating in India, like, HP, like, ABB, then you have Unilever, Nestle. So there are many companies who are also working in India, but you will not hear on a day-to-day basis they're innovating, because innovation is not only limited to product. Innovation is all pervasive. In all main functions, they have to innovate to beat the competition, to move to a new horizon. Okay. So that is why it is called, it is not always a disruptive innovation, but you have to innovate to differentiate. So innovation is a differentiator. And very interestingly, it is said that you differentiate but reduce cost, and then only you will get the new market, new customers. This example, this is an example where, about more than 100 years old company, and we all know this name, IBM. It started in 1911, and they are in a big problem, because they have, multiple cautions, but they did not listen to those cautions. They did not change, and now they are in a crisis. So if you do not innovate, you are in a big problem. So in today's newspaper, it has come, can Krishna is Arvind Krishna, who is the head of IBM now, can he take IBM out of Chakravyuha? So that is the scenario, and that is the importance of innovation. So we move on. What is innovation? Actually, then we have a short summary of innovation here, in terms of the process, in terms of what it does. Innovation in general, innovation management means that this is the process where it starts with the market, customer information, and what the customer wants, what the market wants, and what is the gap in the market. These kinds of information are brought in, then it is brainstormed, then normally the idea collection, then separation, then finally a product proposal is given. With evaluation, it is finally comes, it gets into the shape of a project. So that is a normal channel, followed by all other functionalities. If you talk about supply chain, if you talk about marketing, all are doing this. This has got also another name, that 7 E's of innovation: explore, evaluate, extend, experiment, engage, execute, and enhance. Fundamentally, this you have to go through this funnel. You have to generate idea and finally choose an idea which can be commercial, which is commercially viable, and then only it can turn into a project. Now, what are the technicalities, the technology involvement? And the moment we talk about technology and the innovation process, obviously we are also talking about fitting a person in various functions. Okay, in technology process from innovation to product creation, there are many steps. Starts with the know-how generation. It's a very important area. This is a hazy area where the idea is not consolidated. At the same time, parallelly, there another group works for modular architecture and standard design. So these are the things where you need a lot of innovative people. And then starts the product realization, where you validate whether your prototype is working all right or not, you are meeting the customer requirement or not. So, and then comes the industrialization part, and then market introduction. So each of these factor requires a different set of skill, and especially in the innovation area, they need an innovative mind in almost everywhere in these two diagrams. So now we come to another way, that types of innovation. This is one type we have shown. Another few types which is very popular in the market is also end user driven innovation. If you are a B2B supplier, then the end user, suppose it is a automobile, so they will try to innovate, help you to innovate what is their requirement based on the customer's requirement. And this is a joint development normally happens with the vendor. Then breakthrough innovation, everybody knows, it does not happen every day or every month or every year. Breakthrough innovations are, these are game changers. Ideas to business models, that is normal, in many areas, many functional areas, it is being used. Then another new one which has come up, that is we are concentrating so long as design for Six Sigma, DFSS. Now it is design for excellence, so DFX. So that is another area where whatever you are trying to deliver, you make it so excellent that customer may refuse your product. Now if you look at recent Apple range, the innovation is drying out, but what they are doing, they are looking at the excellence part, and thereby they are still maintaining the same pool. And open innovation is the latest one, where mostly startup and other organizations are doing this one. This is a very effective one. It's a digital platform where you can have this idea collaborated in an open forum, which is a complete complete move away from a secret all secret formula for an innovative product or services. Then benefit of innovation, everybody knows, so there is nothing much to talk about. But the interesting part is the fast line. It is a simultaneous pursuit of differentiation. Your product has to be differentiated so that you can add value to the customer. The moment you add value to the customer, you also give at a low cost. And the moment you derive a product like that, you also add value to your organization. The moment you add value to your organization, the organization also grows and all the individual also grows. So that's the way it is done. So that is how you capture a new market space. Okay. So now we come to the I'll just pass through this that we have discussed, because we have also have not much of time. Now we try to connect innovation to national education policy. So the main question, if we look at my industry or the industry where I have worked, who innovates? Fundamentally, is it the machine? Is it the robot? It is the other AI system? No. It is the employee or group of employee who innovates. Fundamentally, this group of employee has to have some kind of qualities or characters. Like they have the capability to develop ideas which are new, better, and unique. So, if you look at this, then you can imagine that the demand from the industry side is, what are the requirements from the industry side. Then he is not afraid of experimenting with ideas and failures. So he must analyze his failure for his next attempt, because failure or experiment is given a very important pedestal in the innovation management. And the one very important thing, what I have seen, many of these, our very good students, very high, scoring very high marks, don't have the divergent thinking capability. They are very convergent, because they are, it is nothing wrong. They are taught in that manner because they have only one answer. But the divergent thinking is not found in many people so long. Then he has to have a lot of initiative, the initiative to know what is happening in the industry, initiative to know how to put the creative idea into practice. So that is why we say we look for a guy or girl who has got a positive attitude. He is not blaming everybody, blaming system, blaming government, blaming the whole world, but he has to take responsibility. And also he can connect, he can communicate, he can link up the interdisciplinary groups. And of course, that today's world, the change is only permanent. So every day there will be change, and he must adapt quickly to the change and move on. And there are few other parameters, like he has to have critical thinking ability and ability to take risk. Okay, so these are the demand. These are the I would not say demand. These are the expectation from a new joinee in an industry. Now, the question is, where from this particular person comes in? If we look at that, he comes from the society. The interesting part, and he goes back to the society after retirement. So fundamentally, we bring this person from society and use him for the growth of industry. Now, what he does, how he prepares before joining. He goes to the school, college, and universities. And this particular educational ecosystem, he stays there for almost 20 years. And that is a large period. That is a very important period in that young man's or woman's life. And there, I wonder, that in a country like India, I am surprised to understand there are about 34 crores of students in the system, even that is bigger than many countries' total population. So such a big responsibility of this educational ecosystem. And this particular, the entire young person passed through this channel or educational ecosystem, and which are very important part of their life, from childhood to young age, from school to college to universities. And this actually period decides what this person will be in future. So that is where we connect it to national education policy, because to run this huge ecosystem we need a policy, and that policy we are talking about here is national education policy. Now national education policy 2020, whether how does it fit with the requirement? Now we'll try to see how NEP will augment in innovation in the industry. So let us have a quick look on that. On the right hand side, right now I have listed, I just shown you the list of what industry expects from that new incumbent. On the left hand side, let us see from the NEP what is being given. The NEP is first thing which hit me very strong is the no rote learning. And this method of learning or memorizing, and even the sums are being memorized. I understand this, many of these entrance examination, the task is to you have to memorize 10,000 maths, or you have to memorize 10,000 chapters, something like that. So, and that takes away the whole creativity part of the person. Then NEP is talking about critical thinking skill. It is extremely important because industry wants that. It is a absolute match with what is expected. And the critical thinking has to be inculcated right from the childhood, that they must observe, they must analyze, then from there they can infer, and they start getting the ability to communicate. And when the problem comes, they can solve the problem. So these are facilities which can be inculcated at a very early stage. Then experiential learning. This is extremely important in NEP. What I have seen, these three factors, these the first top three, hit me, in fact, I found it very, very interesting, and it does not need any explanation. Then we talk about all-round development. We do not want a thin axis. We want a person who understands other areas as well. Otherwise, he doesn't find what he will do with his innovation. Then use of technology, then professional courses or vocational courses, and that the teaching of code, learning of code. The learning of code will definitely open a new thought process. It opens up your idea of how to convert a problem or a system into an algorithm. And this we have discussed. Anytime you can come back for learning. It is very important for industry because we find there are many people who have joined because of the family problem. They have left, the educational life and joined industry, and they want to go back and learn. But that long duration leave is not possible. So that's why anytime learning will come very handy for those people, and that will ultimately benefit the industry. Then learning in vernacular, that is a very interesting area, because I have seen many talented persons that they cannot communicate in English, and that becomes a big problem. They understand everything, but they cannot communicate in English. And here the problem is, though this learning is in vernacular, but at somewhere this bridging needs to be there, so that they can communicate to the outside world. Then multidisciplinary university, because many a times when you talk about biomedical engineering, it requires a multidisciplinary facility, and multidisciplinary universities will definitely help in that manner. That the first point and this point, the conceptual understanding and no rote learning are complementary. So it is extremely important for the conceptual understanding to emphasize on conceptual understanding. There is another point which also I find it very important, recognizing unique capabilities, because every person does not have the same capability as we are expecting in a class. And there, if we can identify, where this particular person is much more comfortable, he has got the talent, then that can be inculcated further. And of course, when we talk about all these, spreading education to the underprivileged is also an important criteria. And I also, in fact, loved this particular point, that open and distance learning, ODL, that these programs will help in many ways. Now with specifically, when it is becoming a digital world, the open and distance learning programs can be done very easily, and that will help the individual and the industry as well. So with this, then we go to the next point, that is it only the innovation we are talking about? Actually, if you look at this national education policy, and if you look at this, this World Economic Forum has published 2022, what are the skills outlook? If you go through this and read it, I'm just taking few points. They are saying the growing is analytical thinking and innovation. Number 3 is creativity, originality, and initiative. 5 is critical thinking and analysis. 7 is leadership and social influence. 9 is reasoning, problem solving, and ideation. So if you see, most of these items are somehow touched upon this national education policy. And that is why I think, this education policy is definitely going to help in creating and uplifting industry in India. With this, I'll come to the conclusion in a few lines. I have, this is my personal view. National education policy success depends on its implementation. Okay? Because unless you implement, the policy will be debated, discussed all the time. Because I have seen during my long tenure that we also have many policies in the industry. No policy is perfect. And after implementation only, you keep on correcting on the way. And please, this is a big issue with us. When I'm talking about this, I'm talking about ourselves. This we analyze so much that it is called paralysis through analysis. That should not happen. We should see that this is implemented, and whatever correction is needed is corrected on the way. And final line is everyone should take the ownership, including myself. So with this, I come to the last slide. This shows the Global Innovation Index of 2021 ranking, where India is in the level of 46. So I think with proper implementation of the policies and NEPs, this ranking can be definitely improved. If we can target fast, we will be on the top 25. I think with everybody's effort, that is possible. Thank you very much. That's all from my side.
Thank you, sir. An extremely well-structured presentation, sir, which gave us a lot of insights. So I would invite VC sir to make his remarks first, sir.
Yeah, I think many of us are feeling hungry until unless Momita, in the next meeting you should order for the dinner as well, because in our university we have taken a policy that in the meeting we pre-ordered the lunch or the dinner. So what happens is the food joins, yeah, and you can start the meeting only after the food joins. This is the multinational, some of the multinational have started, and we also want to start this. But nevertheless, jokes apart, I think we should request the people to ask question or post question, and we should respond to the questions. I'm sure there are some questions which they have in mind, so we should answer those.
Sir, I do have a bunch actually. So
yeah, we must answer all the questions.
So sir, this is the thing. I mean, you give me the privilege of being the anchor. So the anchor also has the privilege of picking the brains of the speaker. Sure. So, sir, one thing that number one, I would like to ask our Moitro sir is, sir, the thing is that we are talking about the innovations.
I think Dr. C.R. Moitro has to stop sharing.
Oh, yes.
Still seeing your slide.
Okay.
I can't see it. This is the problem. There's always a glitch.
Yeah.
Now it is okay.
Yeah, and sir, I think Dr. Ajay Chakraborty has his mic accidentally turned on.
Okay, no problem.
There is some kind of
yeah. So everyone should put yourself in a mute condition until you are speaking. Yeah. Okay.
Right. Sir, one thing is that when we are talking about the types of innovations, because it seems that is where the industry focus is. So that is where the questioning focus also has to be. So you are talking about the DFSS to DFX. That is going probably from ideas to perfection and implementation. Sir, I need you to explain that a little more, so that it becomes clear to all of us.
Excellent. So DFSS, we started DFSS for one reason that, what happens that you cannot improve quality. The fundamental is you cannot improve quality by inspection. You cannot improve quality by quality control. You can improve quality by building it in design, and that is where the DFSS comes in. You have to design in such a way that there is just no scope of exceeding the Six Sigma limit in any areas, like, if you consider DFMEA, that means, or FMEA, process FMEA, design FMEA and process FMEA, in both the cases, you start in such a way that, you attain the Six Sigma. Otherwise, Six Sigma limit attaining is very, very difficult. You know that. So that is where, we were looking at DFSS. Now the point is, DFSS, when you are focusing and concentrating, you are losing sight. Sometimes you are losing sight of the customer. And the moment you are losing sight of the customer, you are, missing the value addition. And that is where the DFX comes in. Am I clear?
Yes, sir. So the end user is always important. Correct.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Correct.
Because until unless you get the new market, you get somebody to buy it, you really are not innovating. You are really not making it a commercial success.
Very correct, sir. And one question that all the three speakers have been talking about is, sir, this is actually a slightly tricky question because it also involves teacher education, on which a lot of focus has been given. We are, let's say, Techno India University is already a Meru. Essentially, we are by design a Meru. So in that case, why can't we start, let's say, a teacher education program with the latest parameters, which we can easily do, because of some kind of a policy issue? Why can't we have that freedom? NCT will probably say that, oh, the state government is not allowing, so that is why the latest curriculum cannot come to Bengal. So a Meru essentially that is what the Meru needs. So
Yeah,
how do we deal with this paradigm?
You see, first of all, we are very fortunate to have an extremely, supportive state government. Let me assure you, because we are a state university. And have you seen any non-cooperation arising out of the government? Government is always supporting. Okay. Government has said very clear terms that you are a university, you do your own work. Now, that part is not there. But the point is that, as you rightly said, we have to first build up our capability. You see, when I was talking about NEP, many people were apprehensive. They asked many questions. Some of them are sitting in this room. They said that we want to be away from this, because we don't know what is this NEP. You see, the NEP has got nothing to do with the implementation difficulties of some of the people who are having it. These are purely a science. It is coming out of the market need. Who can disagree with the market? Is it not? So yes, we can. No one, no state government is saying that you disagree. It is all their internal problem. Try to understand, Momita. If there is any criticism on NEP, that is because of the internal problem of few of the people. And why we get into it? NEP and NBA are all supplementary. NBA and NEP, I am in the expert committee of NBA. It arises out of a market need. It's a outcome-based education. Who can say that I don't want outcome-based education?
Right.
Coming to the earlier question, I will just want to add, DFSS is highly customer-oriented, right? It is wrong to say you are not an engineer, you are neither trained on Six Sigma. We will train you on that. DFSS is also highly customer-oriented. Okay? And DFX is something new story, giving a new thing in the thing, that's different. DFSS is database and highly customer-oriented. Okay, it challenges everything, all processes, and lays down a process which is governed by the customer. So they are great people. These are industry people. They are under pressure of the market. So they all the time they invent, they do new things. And now education system is also under the pressure of the market. So let us get out some of them, because one one very senior person asked me this question, that should I join this? I said, why not? He said, whether, there are some other issues. I said, what is the issue? The issues are created by some of the people with vested interest. Can you disagree with NBA? You can't. All are applying for NBA. Why? The same thing. NEP is nothing but NBA.
Right, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
And that is where
See, I am a practitioner. I am an engineer. I am an MBA from XRI, but I am a practitioner on education. This Sunday, I am flying out for evaluation of one of the best institute in the country. So I know what NBA gives you. I have seen how the institutes are changing by practicing NBA. So institutions will also change by practicing NEP.
Right,
in our country, we start fighting and we start seeing from a narrow angle. That is the problem. Problem is not with university or educators. Problems are with here and there, some people. Yeah, okay.
We will have to discuss that at a different forum.
Yeah.
Another,
I think I would like the audience, I would like people who are attending to ask questions.
So one last question.
Okay, sure.
Sir, so you insisted on Lok Vidya. So if Lok Vidya, you talked about it, sir, the Lok Vidya being that getting practitioners of the skills to train. So how does that link with the industry? So if maybe some people who are working as mechanics, they also come in and tell us how they deal with every nitty-gritties of, let's say, putting cars right. I mean, this is an example, or somebody who work as electricians. So that kind of thing, sir, can Lok Vidya be brought in universities? Can it really be done?
Yeah, why not? We are already doing, no? We have certain programs which are, which are 4-credit programs where, people do some work, the students, they are doing in their own hand, and we are going and assessing and giving them marks. This is highly possible. We are doing. You have to have a mindset for that. Okay?
Right, sir. Sir, Mohit, sir, is raising his hand.
Yeah. Mohit is a creator. He is an expert. He has given many institutions the NBA accreditation. And it is because of his request I am sitting on this platform. He doesn't give lecture, but he does it. So Mohit's question is welcome.
Sir, I'm sorry, sir. I am asking a question, and the question may be a tricky question. So first, I make my apology on that.
Okay, sure.
See, NEP, what I understand is the base. It is an all-round education. Yes. The education starts with the school, even the preschool situation.
Yes.
In fact, they are talking about the educating from the age of age of 3 to age of 18.
Yeah.
That's what they are talking. Now there is a plan that this will be done, at least the fundamental education will be done by the Anganwadi worker, Anganwadi, that those ladies. And there are so many schools in the rural area. So basically, if we talk, it has to be start from the very fundamental stage. We cannot build up a cognitive mind when we talk about the higher education situation, unless until it is started from the very base level. It has to be started from
Absolutely.
The class 1 KG and those levels also. And NEP is the right model on that. Model is absolutely fine.
Absolutely.
But implementation of this thing from the fundamental situation, it needs a lots of amount of the resources. It is talking about the educational improvement, the infrastructural equipment into the schools and the fundamental school, basic schools. So there is a possibility that I'm just saying that it will be implemented partially, or in some states, or some states may not have do that because they may not have the resources. And there's a GDP allotment to the education is merely 2%, not even 2%. It is less than that. So there is a possibility there will be a class differentiation will be created because of this NEP, where this is model wise it is perfect, but implementation wise there is a very high possibility. I think there may be a high possibility of creating a class difference. There will be like that today there is a class difference. Some people talks in English, some people cannot talk in English. So there is a class difference even in the job market. Because of that, we know, you know, sir, I know, sir. I was just wondering on this thing, and I thought there are so many learned people are there. So this is a question I wonder for a long time, and then I am going to ask you this question, sir. You are the
Yeah,
chairperson and very
yeah,
learned
yeah.
person.
Is a very interesting and very correct question. I'm sure this question is crossing many others' mind who are sitting here. Actually, you see, there are certain criterion based on which the institutions will be judged or accredited. Now, those criterions are different, but there are certain motivational factors which this policy has given. It is up to you whether you take it or you can't take it. Nobody is forcing you to take. But suppose a particular institution is taking initiative and is able to implement those, there is nothing wrong, because it is something that, you know, the policy is giving certain broad framework. But we are not going to change the evaluation method in NBA or evaluation method in AICT or UGC, saying that you have not implemented this particular clause. That is because it has not yet gone to that stage. And you are absolutely right. It depends on the kind of infrastructure, resource base, etc., which is available for doing the implementation. But you see, you are an expert on NBA. In NBA is basically standing on OBE, outcome-based education. You tell me how many institutions, and we have made it mandatory. We have put certain points. If you are not implemented OBE, you do not get marks. You may lose to become a accredited institution. But you tell me how many have really done it. Your institution has done. Wherever you have given guidance, it has done. I'm not sure all the institutions who are sitting here whether they have done. And what is so great not implementing? That is why I had given 3 tasks. One is online proficiency. Who is stopping you to develop an online proficiency? Which government is stopping you? All the governments is asking you. We unnecessarily bring those things to create a noise and just to create something that we cannot do it. Okay. OBE and Bloom's taxonomy. How many are doing Bloom's taxonomy? Let me check the question papers and the answer scripts and the teaching and learning process. Very few are following Bloom's taxonomy. So these are in our hand. This doesn't require a very special infrastructure. And answering your question, yes, it will bring certain, some people will work fast, some people will not work fast, and there will be a little bit of discrimination. It will always happen as long as we are in a free social environment. So I think we need to watch this for a little more time. As far as we are concerned, Mohit, we means this group, we should pick up only those areas.
I am not talking about our group, sir.
Yeah,
I am talking about in general.
In general, you are right. We have to be extremely careful. We should not pick up something, until the infrastructure, facilities, systems, availability of teachers. We have a huge problem in the demand-supply situation of teachers. We have a huge problem in availability of PhD, PhDs. So so all this will remain on a paper. I'm not saying that. I'm saying some learned people, some wise people have sat together and made this. Okay, we look at it, and the educational institutions should pick up those which they are able to implement until a day will come when those will become mandatory. I think that day will not come so fast. But some of the things which I was talking about, online proficiency, why we should not create? Teaching learning process, Bloom's taxonomy, OBE, why should not we do? We have to forget the easy way of teaching and learning, a textbook. We have to forget that. Who is stopping us? Those are the things. So you have raised a point. I think it requires a different workshop and discussion, but I thank Mohit because he has done it and shown that what he is capable of doing. All his institutions are NB accredited. Momita. And his institutions are in a most difficult terrain, Dr. Mitra. His institutions are in Jharkhand.
I see.
And he has ensured that those are NBA accredited through hard work. Anyway, okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, no, but yeah.
Thank you.
So there are two hands in the attendees.
Yes.
So what I will do is I will enable their speaking one by one.
Sure.
Shoma Roy Acharji, are you there, Shoma? I will allow her to talk. Shoma?
Yeah, I'm there.
Yeah, please.
Good evening, sir. It was really a nice thing that we had. Just the question to Dr. Sengupta. Sir, I'm your student, as you know. How do you think that the entry examination to colleges and specializations, that entrance examinations that we have, be affected when NEP becomes fully functional? And by when can this happen?
Very good question, Shoma. Good and difficult question, but I will answer. You see, it will undergo a change. You know, when more and more we are aligning with with NEP or NBA, because NEP word somebody gets a knee jerk, so I'm using NBA. More and more you align with this, you will see that your entrance criteria, entrance test or entrance criteria will change. You will look for more T-shaped skills than I-shaped skills. Meaning, when you are, suppose you are recruiting a guy for your area, say your physics department, you will not only look for the knowledge which the faculty has on physics, but also you will look a substantial knowledge on the other areas, T-shaped skill, which we mean.
Yes,
so that will change. Today, what is happening, you are only asking him the questions on physics.
Yeah.
But he cannot operate in a multidisciplinary area because you are not checking his other capabilities, whether he can communicate. You see, you too, Soma, you look at graduate, we call it GS, graduate attributes. In MBA, we call it GS. You look at the GS. All the GS are related to teamwork, understanding, capability to communicate, teaching learning process, so those will become more predominant in an interviewing process, interviewing system.
Yes, sir. So do we expect that eventually our examination system, the entrance examination system, would be going towards the SAT combination, like the SAT examination, where they are judged on very many issues along with the basic subject knowledge?
Sure. And I will like Shoma, because I know you people are doing a great job in the TISL. So please show us. I'm sure you are doing. Show us some examples of your Bloom's application of Bloom's taxonomy.
Yes, sir. I'll show that.
A very simple thing. There is nothing in it, and why you should not do it. It is a science. So
yes,
if you are
sir.
doing, show us and show to Mohit also that how you are doing.
Bloom's taxonomy in it, and I would like to show it to you, sir.
Okay, thank you. So these are few things. Your question is good. T-shaped, interviews will change to a T-shaped type of questions, because we are talking about economy, we are talking about growth, we are talking about employment, and this can never come until you are imparting education which is outcome based. And how you really, give outcome based education until there is a T-shaped skill. I am not creating a researcher. We are creating, but predominantly we are also creating people who will go and serve the society. So you have to have a T-shaped skill.
Right.
You have to have I-shaped with a T-shaped,
In fact, sir, our class 12 exams should have more effective domain questions from the Bloom's taxonomy.
Yes.
That is very true, sir.
Okay, I will quote from the one work which PricewaterhouseCoopers have done. 100 companies they have studied on mergers and acquisition, and what was found, the most of the failures, 99% failures in merger and acquisition has come not because of technology, but because of people. The lack of T-shaped, skills. They have failed in merging two two entities, two cultures. Technology was not a problem.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, the next hand that I see is of Tapush Mitro. I will enable the talk. Tapush sir, please go ahead. Hello. I think there is some problem with his audio. I have, sir, permitted him, but somehow his audio seems to be a problem. Any other questions? Sir, in that case, I had one last question actually. Can
Sure,
I
sure,
ask?
you go ahead. I mean, it is very good that you are asking question. For Dr. C.R. Mitra's information, Momita heads our humanities department.
Oh.
And you see the kind of questions he is asking, starting from Six Sigma to DFSS to all kind of things. Yeah, go ahead, Momita.
Sir, it is because you have encouraged me to attend
No,
so many
no,
sessions.
yeah, sure.
So one thing is that we are talking about outreach programs for
Yes,
the
yes.
disadvantaged sections. Sir, any kind of format that we can work out, because that is something very important. The moment we are out of the cities, people don't know.
Agreed. To say, I will tell you my experience. There are many more, many other eminent people who can answer this. You see, the outreach program, there is no particular fixed format. You know, we like it, and we have been encouraging from NBA. We like this. And as you rightly said, when we take the children out on an outreach program, we see huge creativity coming out of it. We have only said that they should be taken out of the premises, from the boundaries, taken out under a coach. The coach not necessarily be the teacher. The coach could be someone who you attach, an expert, a coach from outside, adjunct coach, who should take them, not dictate them, allow them to freely do whatever. There should be a program. There should be a program, how many days you want the outreach program, this thing, what are the objective, what is the agenda, and let them go, and then put some physical stuff into it. One of the best outreach program which is done is by XLRI, and the XLRI in Jamshedpur. They take them to the Dharma Hills and Dimna and all that, for the elephants and all that, and the students, they let go and they do many things. There is a very, very, not a tight one, but a very loosely kept boundary. And one of the expert goes with them. So in Techno India University, we are doing it. I think we have to do it more in a more structured way and attaching some credit to it. Anit and Suja is sitting here. If you attach credit, then they will be interested. Certain credit hours for outreach program. It's mandatory. It's very good. Your NBA, NAC, everybody will compliment you if you do outreach programs.
It could also be part of the CBCS, the choice-based credit system.
Yeah. Ishan is there. Ishan, are you doing outreach program?
Sir, I think we are doing for the architecture.
Yeah.
Management.
Dr. Rina Paludi, if you can please. For architecture you are doing. But is it outreach or is it?
It is a credit point, sir. It is, they are studying, they are giving a project report. And based on that, they are getting the marks and all.
Outreach program, what Momita is saying, and in NBA, what we understand, is a little different. It is without a academic, strict academic agenda. You take them to Sundarban, let's say, with Dr. Abhijit Mitra, and let them jump there, get into the.
So like excursion type, this one.
Yeah, with some, with some framework. Some framework has to be there, because we have to give them some creativity exercise, some this thing, and measure how the things are happening. Yeah, not a
So
picnic.
from the virtual lab side, we have done some outreach program.
Okay,
So
sure.
that is the IIT Bombay, that is the mandatory for outreach, because we have done for our other colleges in some schools also. Just transfer the knowledges and all, just learn them how the virtual labs are working and all. So that we have done.
Momita, it is a good point. You prepare a note, we will discuss with MRC madam, and we will make it some sort of a program with some credit given to it. Because in an outreach program, you will see that their creativity comes out. The coach has to be very, very experienced coach who will go along with them and give them some, there is, I can give you some format of outreach program, how others are doing. So there's some exercise, there is some, something is done which develops their team spirit. Those should be the objective.
Right.
There is no academic learning objective. It is taking out the team spirit, innovation, the people who were not seeing eye to eye, you will see after an outreach program, they become friends. That kind of thing. Interpersonal capabilities, intrapersonal capabilities, those.
Correct.
Good point. I think you should take a lead in this.
Correct.
In sorry, ma'am.
Yeah.
In Jharkhand, we tried to do something, but then due to COVID, it was stopped. What we did actually, we have tried to take out some villages. Now we have found that because of the villagers are poor and uneducated. So simple thing, say for example, they have to make an application to the BDO. They don't know how to do it. And there are the middlemen who are basically operating on that. So we send some of our boys, we send their students, the students, they went there we wanted to do it in a regular basis, but it was not a very successful because of that. One of the primary reason was the COVID. But we did it, we sent the boys to the various villages, try to solve their problem. So in this process, what has happened, there are two things happened. There is no academic credit for that, of course, because it has been controlled by the university. But what is happened is that the boys, they got acquainted with the reality of the situation. It is not that we are sitting in Kolkata and then thinking that everything is like Kolkata and Salt Lake, but reality is not there. India is different. So I think they have got a different perspective of India. Maybe we can think in Techno India University also, we can start doing similar things in Techno India University.
Very good. So Momita, you do it. This gentleman, Mr. Mohit Chattopadhyay, is highly knowledgeable and thoughtful.
Yeah.
And he has done himself. We are discussing
together.
what he has done.
Do it together. Don't worry. Yeah.
Take his suggestion. I think we should start.
Thank you.
And
Thank
Dr. Rina Palotti's leadership, we must do it.
Sir, Dr. Chandmoni Borshak is also raising his hand. I'll allow him to talk. Chandmoni sir, are you there?
Yes. Sir, what Rina Palotti, Dr. Rina Palotti has told, she has exactly explained what our architecture department is doing. In our, suppose I have already told you.
Can you explain what exactly you do in those visits?
That is when from second year to fourth year, our students do their educational tour, and it's a compulsory one. And from there, say compare their educational learning from theory subject to the field, actual field. Suppose they are under 2 days historical building or tempo, so they do measure drawing and like that. And also they, when they come back, they write a report on that, and they also give their observation.
Okay. Yeah, to some extent it is outreach, but by definition, the way NBA has looks at it, they say that, the creativity of a person, knowledge of a person, teamwork, then his inclination to the society, this must improve by outreach program. That's what they're saying, and make them to do some physical work. like
say
Mount
in our-
Elite is that, this kind of stuff. I will give you a template which some of the institutions are following, who has got the top ranking in India in outreach program. Okay, yeah. Chadmoni Basak, I think he is doing something. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
At least you are doing something. Your students are going and visiting various places, etc. Certainly.
Sir, we
So-
are actually out of time.
Okay.
So,
This is a time for vote of thanks, I think.
yes, sir. So should I call Director Ma'am? I'll do that. So, without any further ado, I want to first of all just thank the entire team, myself, for arranging something so beautiful. It was a really, really beautiful discussion, and we have so much of insights. And to deliver the formal vote of thanks, I would invite our Honorable Director Ma'am, Professor Dr. Reena Paladhi, who is somebody who has bridged the gap between the industry and academics in a beautiful way. She's an academician and a teacher par excellence, and somebody who has been associated with the corporate world for a very long time. She's extensively experienced there, and moreover, she's somebody very, very dear to us. So, ma'am, please, the floor is yours.
Good evening. This is such a wonderful session, sir. So respected Co-Chancellor, Madam, Professor Manushi Roy Choudhury, Professor Dr. Gautam Sengupta, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Techno India University, Dr. Shiar Moitro, our honorable guest today, senior members from the Techno India Group, corporates, honorable dignitaries, panelists, director, principal from Techno India Group colleges and schools, faculty and staff members of Techno India Group colleges, and all other participants. It is really an honor for me to propose vote of thanks in the webinar National Education Policy, Challenges and Opportunity on the occasion of National Education Day organized by Institution Innovation Council, Techno India University, West Bengal. We are extremely thankful to our Honorable Chairman, Sir, Professor Dr. Gautam Roy Choudhury, and Co-Chairperson, Madam Professor Manushi Roy Choudhury, for their support, guidance, and motivation. Their word of encouragement is an inspiration for all of us. I also like to thank Mr. Meghdud Roy Choudhury, Executive Director and Chief Innovation Officer at Techno India Group, and Ms. Pauline Laravara, Director, Sustainability, for their support and guidance to execute various innovative and social events at Techno India University. Heartfelt thanks to our wellness partner, Monoshij, the mental health platform of Techno India Group. On behalf of Techno India University, I take the opportunity to thank honorable speakers on this most needed topic for all faculty and staff members. We'd like to express our gratitude and thanks to Professor Manushi Roy Choudhury, Honorable Co-Chancellor, Professor Dr. Gautam Sengupta, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Techno India University, Dr. C.R. Moitro, former GM Philips India, Dr. Pradipta Bose, Deputy Registrar Techno India University, West Bengal, for their wonderful and valuable and informative lecture. I'm sure all the participants enjoyed a lot and enriched themselves on the topic. I express my heartfelt thanks to all the director, principal of TIG colleges and schools for their wholehearted support, cooperation, and participation. Thanks goes to faculty, staff members of Techno India Group colleges and all other participants for their active participation. I express my gratitude to all our corporate members who are the pillar of our strength. Thank you for all your support and cooperation to execute various events successfully. So I should not forget to name Professor Mohit Chatterjee, Professor Dr. Sujay Biswas, and Mr. Anit Odhikari, who are always there with us for our any endeavor. Finally, I'd like to thank the entire IIC team behind the realization of this event. Special thanks goes to Shayan, Rupal, Professor Helena, Professor Ishan, Ravi, Tuhin, Silaj, and others for their tireless effort to make this event possible. Thanks goes to Professor Dr. Momita Sengupta to take forward the session wonderfully. Thank you everybody for your support and participation. Look forward to many such wonderful events in future as well. So take care and be safe. All the best. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
I hope I haven't missed anybody.
No, ma'am, you never do. You never do. It was indeed beautifully done, and you say thanks to everybody, and we say thanks to you. You are our backbone, along with VC sir, so that we get encouraged, so much inspired to participate in these events and really concentrate on whatever is being said. So thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much, sir. And I think we can formally close the session now, sir, with your permission.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think with everybody's permission, we'll close it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.